Nico Iamaleava can't run at practice, so does he have more control of the offense? Bob Chesney says yes.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson, Yoxheimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free, wherever it's your podcast. Welcome back, everydayers. What we're talking about today, we're talking about the UCLA women's basketball non-conference schedule release. Some of it, good home games. What does that mean for the Bruins? We're talking, secondly, the importance of Bob Chesney's home debut against San Diego State and a top contender in the newly remade Pac-12. But to lead off, we're talking Bob Chesney's comments about Nico's growth within the offense while he cannot move, or he's not allowed to, and the significant injuries. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Let's say more about FanDuel because join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this MLB season. All right, so UCLA is trying to move things in the new foundation. Obviously, Nico's the staple in the face of the last regime coming back offensively into this 26 season, but what can Dean Kennedy, what can Derek Carr as this new quarterback's guru, and Bob Chesney implement for Nico Iamaleava to have a successful 2026, all right? He was helped out by a very good run game with Tennessee in the 2024 season, a team that made to the playoff. Last year, with a lot less talent, a lot less protection, and a very different offense, the Bruins did not see a lot of super successful moves and plays from Nico consistently passing the football, throwing the football. The athleticism was on display, the playmaking ability, but what's going to make Nico that next level threat? Well, this is what Bob Chesney had to say. His command of the offense, again, this is at his media availability, talking to everybody. Bob Chesney's quotes on a question about Nico, his command of the offense is really good right now. He's doing a really good job of getting us into the right plays, and he's doing a really good job of seeing the defense, and this defense is complicated, and he's talking about how he's got to connect with the receivers a little bit more right now as he continues to grow, and they're not letting him run. So let's digest all of this quote. All right. One, they're not letting Nico run. So that's going to help him with his footwork. That's going to help him on his downfield passing game, being accurate on throws over the middle to the boundary, whatever it takes. The footwork has to be there without letting his first initial thought be run the football, move, move, move. The Bruins' motive, their identity this year is to run the football. That's clear cut. That's what they need to do. Be physical up front, be good with the offensive line, and run the football. But that can't be Nico's number one go-to. You can't be a running quarterback. You got to be a quarterback that can run. All right, there's a difference. Nico has been able to get away at UCLA in that 1 year as a running quarterback, namely because there's times where he's running for his life. But to get better, it's to not let him run. Obviously, that's to keep him healthy for the season, stay away from over-aggressive players defensively at practice, and to make sure, hey, let's get some cohesion offensively with relationships with the receivers. There's a lot of new guys coming in. His favorite receiver is now over there in Nebraska. All right? So you've got different guys coming in. That's the thing every team has got to deal with the transfer portal. But what I'm getting at is Nico is digesting the offense well. All right? And I'm not sure that Dean Kennedy's schemes are way too complex for Nico to understand. No. But when you're going from a Tennessee scheme that you've been there for 2 years, you're taking over an offense at the end of the summer in 25, flipping that for the Jerry Neuheisel and Noel Mazzoni-led offense at the end of the season, and now flipping it with the new coaching staff, that's almost 2, 3, 4 systems you're learning in less than 3 years for Nico. That's a lot. That's honestly a lot for him to digest, and obviously, if you're going to be able to be a good NFL quarterback, you have to be able to see the field. It's what's between the ears, as Benny would say, and how can he look at what's going out there and what can he make with the reads? Well, the big thing for Nico Iamaleava is to come out and understand the offense. Look like that's a check. Good thing for UCLA. We're getting through fall camp. We've gotten through the big scrimmages over at Irvine, and it looks like, according to Bob Chesney's quotes, that he is getting it. The thing that is a little interesting is connecting with the receivers. So can you digest the offense while not having full chemistry with the receivers? Okay, awesome. His favorite receiving target's gone. You got Mikey Matthews returning in the slot, but it's not like that was a dynamic combination last year all the time. I'm just wondering, who's Nico going to throw the football? I know Ethan Sabo and I, we had the show the other day. One of our segments was about this receiving core, guys that can make big plays. You've got Leland who can go down the field. You've got Mizell. You've got Matthews. You've got plenty of targets, even guys just aren't even coming off the top of my head right now, who can make things happen for UCLA. Brian Rowe Jr. obviously has been a big name that's been thrown out by various entities who cover UCLA as a guy expected to break out this year. Awesome. But doesn't seem like that's the case. Now, Bob Chesney's not going to reveal all his cards. He's a savvy, now veteran head coach, getting ready to see what it's like to play in a big media market. So we have to remember that. Handling this better than Lincoln Riley has ever at USC, while also managing, all right, what's the day-to-day in an LA market, handling the UCLA media at the football level, while showcasing. Doesn't seem like Nico has everything down with the receivers, from what I get. Again, this is his quote. We've just got to continue to connect with the receivers right now, and that's one thing he continues to grow with. That was partial to quote. The rest of it is they're not letting him run, all right? While understanding that's a big part of his game. So it's, what I'm gathering, figuring out the footwork, getting in the rhythm with the receivers. So I think he's digesting the X's and O's, how it's playing out, the timing with a bunch of new teammates out wide, maybe still not always going there, right? Now, my thing is, can Landon Ellis come through and make a big-time play early on? Some of those JMU transfers help him out as guys who know the offense, right? The Wayne Knights of the world, everybody else. Can they help him in his growth? We'll see, all right? Because this is a whole offense that's designed to maximize his skill set, be a lot better than it was in 2025, and maybe emulate the success that Tennessee had in 24. Obviously not super big-time playoff contender just yet in the first year of the Bob Chesney era, but one that runs the ball, maximizes Nico's his strengths, and minimizes his mistakes. But you can't do that if you just let him run wild and practice and act like it's going to be chaos mode every game, right? You can't have a Penn State moment. If you want to have a successful season in 26, you've got to be able to be consistent. And when he makes those moments, those are Heisman moments, not underdog Cinderella moments. So that's what I've gathered from what Bob Chesney was able to say. Other things that came out were Cole Martin's availability. Something that was brought up is like, all right, he was talking about Cole Martin, how he's been out. He was a big vocal part of the Bruin Brotherhood, a loud returner. His importance to this UCLA secondary was impactful, especially in that spring football practice documentary, in what he brings to this team, leadership, returning, just the love for UCLA. Sometimes we forget with all these transfers, new coaches, new people coming from all across the country, wherever they are coming from in the world, we need people to love UCLA. And that's where Cole Martin comes in. Now, this isn't exactly the quote that Bob Chesney's getting, and some of this is my interjection and opinion, but he's been out with a bit of a muscle injury is what the quote was from Bob Chesney, so that's something to look out. Something else, though, is that Riley Robel, a center, a transfer from JMU, somebody to help fortify this offensive line. If you want Nico to develop as a passer, well, you're going to need a strong O-line in front, and Robel, a sprained MCL. All right, this is what Chesney's quote was. Riley has like a little bit of a sprained MCL, which is really nothing, and it's something you can come back from in a week or so. It's a pretty simple one, and it's just, we don't want him to put him out there and get hurt. All right, those were his quotes, mostly verbatim. So you got some key players, some transfers, some returners hurt. They're trying to keep him out, play it cautious. Really interesting wording there from Chesney on how he talked about Robel's injury, but this is a player he's already known for a year plus. I'm going to trust his judgment on how to handle the fall camp with the O-linemen, because UCLA in a transfer portal season, in a high school season, in a returning situation, while there is expected and hoped improvement on the O-line, I can't exactly say the depth will always be there down the line in the 26 season. Early on, you need your players to be at their best, and you need Nico protected, because there is no offense if you can't protect him. He's got to continue to run. All right. And one final note, I saw this reported by Bruin 24/7. Jaden Fox, a 2026 commit, not this expanded 27 class that we're all getting hyped about. That's top 15, top 10 at times in various recruiting rankings. Jaden Fox, a one-time running back commit, is now going to Colorado State. So got out of that commitment, is enrolled at Colorado State. That was reported by Bruin 24/7. So some injuries, some Nico quotes, and a UCLA commitment lost in this most recent 26 commitment. And now that there's 5 years to play 5, why not go play right away? Jaden Fox is not going to play right away. You're stuck behind Knight. You're stuck behind a whole bunch of other players transferring in, returning, or staying at UCLA, namely Knight, Woods, and everybody else at UCLA. 6 running back crew. Yeah, go play. It's okay. Go play at the new Pac-12 Mountain West schools. Go play for Jim Moore, I believe, at Colorado State if we got everything together, and see what happens, and then transfer out. Because the portal isn't effectively closed for multiple transfers. Go play right away and then bounce back. And I think that might be one of the first players in this new era to begin, hey, why am I going here now that there's 5 years? There's no red shirt. Go play or at least earn opportunities elsewhere. Put yourself on tape and bounce back. That could be for Fox or anybody in this 26 class heading into the freshman year in the football market. All right. Next, we're going to talk about the importance of UCLA taking on San Diego State. Home opener and a sneaky tough game that I'm not sure we're talking about enough. And quite frankly, I've chalked it up to a win. And I think I'm being a bit too cocky. And I think you are too. Next, I locked on UCLA. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, I know you know how tough it is that a perfect treat without all the sugar. No, come on. Think about this. That's why Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is that classic cotton candy taste you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and zero sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved cotton candy, right? It's like fair season right now. Go get some cotton candy. Well, you can get that with a little boost, and I can't be eating sweets all day. This is the perfect alternative, especially since some fairs are done. I want my sweet alternative. It's my go-to when I want something sweet without going overboard. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Cruising on with Locked On UCLA, we're talking the UCLA San Diego State football game. Well, why are we talking about a Week 2 game? We're still weeks away from UCLA even playing Cal. And no, obviously, I'm excited for that Cal game. That's a game that should be College game day. That's a game that should be hyped up a lot more, and we will be talking about it in depth fairly soon. Saturday, September 5th, a 7:30 kickoff. That's going to tell us about the doom or gloom of the early part of this 26 season. But the first chance that a lot of us are going to get to see this UCLA team, Saturday, September 12th. A Saturday game at 4:15. It's on the Big Ten Network. That's one of those that it's early enough in the college football day that we'll know right away. Is UCLA for real, or are they the laughing stock of West Coast college football? All right? You get back-to-back games. NorCal, SoCal, as far up to the Bay and all the way down to San Diego. You're hosting the Aztecs. This game is more important than we realize. It's the first chance for Bob Chesney to make an impression in the Rose Bowl. It's a chance for the fan base to showcase, okay, we know this game's important and we want to show up. And you're taking on a guy that wanted and was a contender for this UCLA job, and Sean Lewis from San Diego State. He was definitely a name thrown out there from the G5, G6s of this world. And there was a realistic opportunity that if the Bruins weren't able to get Bob Chesney, maybe they could have pivoted to San Diego State's Sean Lewis. Well, I think we've got a home run higher. Lewis maybe a year or two away, but San Diego State was really good. In 2025, they had one of the top 5, top 10 total team defenses in all the country. All right? San Diego State, one of the best defenses in the country. So is that going to scare us? No, because there's quite a few departures, but they've got a lot of returners on offense. So here's the good and the bad. What they're able to showcase in a year 1 to year 2 jump for San Diego State under Coach Lewis is that they could hit hard, they could play fast, and they're strong defensively. The reason why they weren't a true contender out of San Diego State to take that playoff spot, right? Last year there's Tulane and James Madison winning. It's because San Diego State didn't exactly have the offensive threats that JMU had with Bob Chesney. So this is what ESPN had to say in their preview of the Pac-12, namely San Diego State. All right, so this is what they had. They brought in some defensive pressure from the portal, guys that had 22 tackles for loss and 10 passes defended. but at lower levels of the D2 and FCS levels. They have a lot of their offense returning, including their quarterback, their running backs, but it's an offense that wasn't exactly creative and wasn't all too good. Because if San Diego State had any offense, they would have won the Mountain West and definitely would have competed for a playoff spot that was up for grabs with 2 G5s getting in last year. All right? So here's the scoop. They are missing quite a few starters from last year. All right? They have 4 defensive starters gone, their coordinator's gone, and a big-time punter. So they've been hit on defense, they've been hit in their coaching staff, they've been hit in special teams. Yet, this is a coach that can add, has found ways to add, and San Diego State wants to punch up thinking they're this little brother that we've forgotten about. The Bruins a few years ago, obviously very different coaching situations then, went down to San Diego and laid down a nice little beatdown. But we can't forget what happened last time when, it came up to the Rose Bowl. It was like this thing we've never lost to. Obviously, Fresno State's a different situation, but we never lost to San Diego State. Well, it's not too far in the past that when they traveled up to the Rose Bowl, they beat the Bruins. And this is a chance for Chesney to, 1, beat somebody who is contending for the job. 2, you can really, if you blow them out and make it fun and exciting, I know not everybody's going to get jazzed up to play San Diego State at home, but it's important. And these are one of those games that can look good on a resume, say down the line, where if they are 2024 Indiana, you're going to want to put some style points on the board to get the fan base, to get the youth movement, to showcase in back-to-back weeks that if you have beaten Cal week 1, you beat San Diego State week 2, you're going to have UCLA football on the map 2-0 and Purdue waiting in the wings in week 3. And I think we all expect to beat Purdue in week 3. Now, the last time a team came from Indiana over the Rose Bowl, things went crazy and college football turned on its head. But I think if UCLA can own the state of California, that can help in-season recruiting with just the eyeballs and the buzz. Man, a Cal followed by a San Diego State win with a little bit of some vibes pumped in there. All right, then we're going to have some fun Rose Bowl atmospheres for the rest of 26. Because this is a schedule filled with home games. Again, UCLA hosts San Diego State, Purdue. You keep going down the list. You get Wisconsin, Michigan State, Nevada, Illinois, and USC. All right, plenty of home games this year. Some lackluster until the Big Ten games get in there and one random end of October non-conference game. But man, come on. This is a chance for us to make some damage. Chesney's first opportunity against a San Diego State team that hits hard, plays good defense. It's a chance to showcase, hey, are we tough enough to play in the Big Ten? Is the Pac-12 going to be big-time football in this new conference? Or is it a chance for UCLA to say, yeah, we ended that conference and it's going to stay dead because of the breakup, because the Bruins went to the Big Ten? Now, logistically speaking, yes, the Pac-12 should have always had a UCLA and an SC and Cal and Stanford and all those other West Coast teams in it. That's just not the world we live in financially with the eyeballs and the buzz nationally. So for now, the Bruins want to say, hey, sorry, Pac-12, that we really hurt you by leaving. 2, put a big blow into San Diego State, showcasing that just because the name is back with Pac-12 doesn't mean you're a big-name football program. And 3, remember, style points matters. To recruits, to the fans, nationally. It's the second chance the Bruins get, and first time to do so at home that, hey, this isn't going to be an empty stadium every game, especially when big opponents come. That they get this first vibe in the Rose Bowl. So everything will come together and hopefully lead to UCLA success. But speaking of success, the UCLA women on the basketball front have dominated to the next level, and now they've dropped a bit of their schedule on their site. This is the official update with their promos next on Locked On UCLA. We'll discuss more coming up. Locked On UCLA is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers, just another way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. For me, obviously, while my fan soul is crushed with the Dodgers play, they are heading to Colorado. All right. So anybody in that Dodgers lineup, obviously things can shift day to day. If they're in Colorado, they've either been giving up dingers or they're going to be hitting dingers. And that's why you got to go check out some daily dingers with FanDuel. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer, play ball, and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. Cruising on here with Locked On UCLA, we're talking the UCLA women's basketball schedule, all right? This is the parts that we know, obviously. They'll be playing each Big Ten team once. They'll play USC twice. Lots of time to discuss what those games can look like. But this is what the Bruins have released thus far, all right? This is currently what the official schedule looks like at home and the overall non-conference schedule. You start at home against Lehigh November 2nd, all right? So we're going to have UCLA, Arizona, and Vegas on the men's side. And on the same night, we're going to have Lehigh for the women's home opener. Not exactly the night they're releasing the banner, but we'll discuss more on that. Then they've got UC Irvine later. They will host Arizona. Now, a few years ago, Arizona was cream of the crop. They were, in 2021, a national runner-up to Stanford when it was an all Pac-12 final in the women's bubble tournament. But not the same Arizona. They're in the Pac-12. It's probably the closest we'll get to any big-time Arizona school coming into Pauley. So we got Arizona coming in then. So that's a big opponent coming in. So we'll see. Princeton, a very sneaky, good mid-major program. They've been doing pretty good in the Ivies lately. So we'll see what Princeton does. They've got Cal Poly later. Then they host Penn, host CSU Bakersfield. And then you've got Duke in mid-December on a Wednesday in Arizona for the Scripps Women's Basketball Showcase. And I think there's been other games somewhat announced, but these are the official games. So you get a rematch of your Vegas game and your tournament game that the Bruins had to fight for to get to the Final Four against Duke. Carol Austin's team will be ready and wanting to go for the Bruins in that game in Phoenix at the Mortgage Matchup Center. All right, so those are the big games. Some neutral site, most of them home games. So here are your theme nights. You've got Field Trip Day, so UCLA is going to have an early game in November for Field Trip Day. So I think we'll be able to space out the games and the times, talking about the women and talk about the men that day on November 2nd. They haven't released times, but if you got Field Trip Day, that game's usually tipped no later than 12 p.m. I could be wrong, but generally they're a day game. You play UC Irvine. They've got leather pants dressed like a champion night. Obviously, with Corey Close and company to respond to the championship run. Hey, why don't you go dress and wear some leather pants? Then you've got the big one, the one that we all want to know. You've got banner reveal and ring ceremony. All right, that's the Princeton game, the Sunday opportunity to see the banner released, a good sneaky opponent coming into town. The Bruins better be ready to play because you're not going to want to disappoint when you're going to have the champs in-house. Later that Thursday, they've got mental health awareness. Obviously, we've seen the story of Lauren Betts be talked about again and again and again. There's a wonder that if they're playing on a Sunday against Princeton, would Lauren Betts have any impact on the mental health awareness night, or will she record something? That's something to think about. The fun games for the rest of it, you've got Thankful to be a Bruin around Thanksgiving, and the Friday, December 11th game. You've seen this across all sports during buckets, during silent nights, during any Christmas holiday opportunity. Teddy bear tosses, and December 11th is that teddy bear toss against CSU Bakersfield. All right, chucking it. All right, let's go get those teddy bears after they reach a 10th point or during a timeout. They've been around for a few months, few times now, but those are the opportunities. For me, the games that stick out, Arizona game, that's the big home game. The Princeton game is the one everybody's going to want to be at with the banner being released. And the one that's been snuck on the schedule and there for a little bit is the Duke game. Now, that doesn't include the SC games that'll be added later with the dates. That doesn't include any other games they're going to play on the road or on neutral sites. But so far, to what we know, the fun little, hey, let's get in the building and have some fun and celebrate the champs, albeit with a different roster. These are your opportunities. Games full in November with lots of home games, and soon enough from November 15th on, it's going to have a banner representing the 26 national champs, arguably one of the best teams to ever grace the floor in the history of college basketball. You see it in the WNBA, you saw it with all the draft picks, and they're going to come back, I believe, to come together, get them rings, drop the banner, and we're going to celebrate the Bruins like we know how, in style with fours up and endless 8 claps. Something tells me they're probably going to do a dance too, so all you haters, expect the 3 of the Gabriella Hawkinses of the group, the Lauren Betts, and the Charlize Ledger Walkers to get up and dance with the cheerleaders again, just like they did on the men's home senior night. All right, that's what's taken for Locked On UCLA. Next couple episodes, we'll have guests, we'll have returning guests, new guests discussing draft potential and growth for UCLA men's hoops, and we'll talk more about UCLA football as well. Hands up, Bruins fans, 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, UCLA. UCLA, fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.